right. Hello, all. Mr. Wade Doyle, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Mateo, thanks for letting me put you back in the waiting room for a second. I apologize about that. And Jen's on. Welcome, Jen. Okay, so we're, as usual, we're going to have people trickling in. We've got an awesome training for you today. We have a guest speaker for you that's here to talk to us about mindset, which we all know is an incredibly important thing about real estate investing. So, it's kind of where it starts. If we don't have the right mindset, we're not going to be successful with it no matter what. So I'm grateful for all of you here. Chad, welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Don, thanks for letting me put you back in the waiting room for a second. It's good to see you, my friend. How you been?
Hey, good to see you. Sorry to pull one over on you last week. I was logged into the meeting, but I was not here. I had to go to my local real estate investors meeting, so I had set my computer up to record the Zoom meeting while I was gone. So you might have thought I was here, but I wasn't really here.
Well,
sorry about
that. It's all good. It's all good, my friend. I'm glad to hear that you're out there doing some paid time, going to some real estate meetings. That's important. So
yeah, that was good.
We'll be publishing all of the Ask Mitch Anythings. I think we have Tyson, maybe 4 to 6 months worth. I'm going to be publishing all of those on a YouTube channel called Flippin' Sexy Education, Flippin' Sexy Real Estate Education. So our YouTube channel, that's our fix and flip before and afters, that is Flippin' Sexy Real Estate. And then we're going to be publishing some educational courses as well as the Ask Mitch Anything recordings. Probably on every 2 weeks, we'll upload the previous 2 weeks to YouTube. So you guys will have access to those. So we're working on expanding the accessibility to the library. So it's going to be awesome. Dan, the man.
Hey, Mitch, how are you today?
I'm doing well, my friend. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. I'm only going to be on the call for a short while. I got to go to my daughter's birthday party, but all good.
No worries. No worries. Oh, she's, your daughter's birthday is today?
It is technically tomorrow.
Okay. Fellow Capricorn. My birthday was on Friday. So
there you go. Well, happy birthday.
So, man, 35. I'm getting old. Look at all these gray hairs. Look at this.
Yeah. Look at those. They're just coming out everywhere. Yeah.
I'm feeling it too. Guys, we have a guest speaker today. I'm gonna go ahead and let him get started. Gerardo, it's people are gonna be trickling in for maybe the next 10 to 15 minutes. So let's go ahead and get started. I know you got a lot to get through. So I want to introduce one of my longtime students. I met this guy because I sent some postcards out in the mail inviting people to come to a training, right? To learn to become real estate investors. This was, Gerardo, 4 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yeah, about 2017. Mid 2017, roughly.
And Gerardo's gone out and he's done a lot of really good things in real estate, but he's expanded beyond real estate and he's gotten into something that that I am a firm believer in, and that is mindset. Gerardo is not just a real estate investor and a successful real estate investor, but he's also a master practitioner in NLP and hypnotherapy, and he's a certified NLP trainer. So this guy has studied the mind. He understands what it takes and the frame of mind that you have to be in order to go and be successful. And so I can't think of a better person to share with us some of the mindset that's required to go out and start, tearing it up in real estate. So without further ado, I'm not going to steal too much of his thunder here. I'm going to let him tell his own story, but let's turn the time over to Gerardo. It's all you, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Mitch.
Gerardo, sorry, I forgot to do some housekeeping. So we're going to let Gerardo get through his presentation, and then we're going to have a question and answer at the end. So let's save all the questions for the end. If you don't want to forget it, go ahead and throw it in the chat, and we'll come back to it during the question and answer period. Or you can come off mute in the question and answer period and ask your questions then. I'm just going to ask you to stay on mute during Gerardo's presentation so that you can get through the content. Now with that, sorry for the false start, Gerardo, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mitch. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Do I have control over
You do. I made you a
over this?
co-host at the beginning.
So I can share my screen?
Yep.
Okay, I got it. Let me see. Are you guys seeing my PowerPoint at all?
We are not.
It's having me quit now, Zoom. Technical difficulty, sorry.
Gotta love them, right? It's all good. If you need to quit and log back in, it might be are you on a Mac?
Yeah.
It might be a permissions issue. So
yeah, it's saying that it won't record anything unless I quit now.
Yeah, log off and log back in, and we'll have Tyson kind of share some of what's going on 3990 in the interim.
Okay, awesome. I apologize.
We'll see you in a sec, my friend.
Okay.
Okay, everybody. Hi,
All
I'm
right.
at one of the flips that we've done in the past, and
Wade,
we've held on to it.
I gotta give Wade an update really quick because he's in on this one. So Wade, this is 3990. We're this one was a flip that we sat on the market, didn't sell. We had to convert it into a rental. It's been a rental for about 1.5 years, and great news is we've gained some appreciation. We're going to be listing this thing for $900,000 when our original ARV was $800,000, which is just an example of why I love real estate. Because time heals all in real estate, right? We wanted to do a flip, and Wade and I were so excited to go out and get this thing done. And then we got it done, and it was beautiful. We put it on the market, and it just sat there. And so we rented it out. We Airbnb'd it for a while. And then now we're getting ready to put it back on the market, and things are going crazy. So we're excited. So Tyson, give us a 1-2 minute quick rundown of what you're looking at. And then I'm letting Gerardo back in right now.
Okay. All right, so right now I'm at this property just doing a couple of things because we have stagers that we love, and they're here right now with me, and they stage all of our high-end properties. They are here just doing some preparation work, installing a couple things, and she just told me, this is fun news. She just told me that because of her vision for this property, what she's going to do with it, where she's going to draw attention to, it's probably going to be one of her favorite properties. And she's predicting that it's going to sell really fast because it's going to make it look so good. And to be honest, it already looks, she's going to make it look better and draw eyes to the selling points of the house with how she stages it.
Perfect.
How's that for an update?
Really, what we've seen is that makes all the difference when it comes to selling the property. The property was done right. The construction was done right. But I think the big difference in what we were missing 1 year ago was the right staging and the right presentation to sell the property. So that's the angle we're going to take on that one. Tyson, thank you. We got Gerardo back on. Let's try this again. Gerardo,
all right,
take it away, friend.
Thank you. Let's try this again.
Co-host real quick. There we go. Now you should be able to share your screen.
All right, are you all seeing it? Yeah. Sweet. Thank you for that, Mitch. I really appreciate it. Like Mitch said, I met him back in 2017, and that kind of really just kickstarted my path on mindset. It really kickstarted just everything, and where I was heading, it blew it out of proportion to just an amazing, amazing time. So a little bit about mindset. Sorry, I was having a little bit of trouble with my mouse here. I was born in Mexico. I came over to the US when I was 4 years old. Ever since then, I, of course, had to perfect my English. I love this country. I love all the opportunities that it's given me and my family. I am married. I have 2 gorgeous daughters. And like Mitch said, I started investing in real estate about 4 years ago when I was 24. And the first book I read was Mitch's book, Mindset to Millionaire. And that's kind of when it just clicked. It was kind of an epiphany where I realized how important mindset was. And that's where I started just digging everywhere and seeing, okay, what books can I read? What else can I feed my brain so I can make not only more money, but have better relationships with my family, have better relationships with my friends, and just have an overall happier, more rewarding life. So I became certified as a master practitioner of neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, and timeline therapy back in 2018. And the following year, I became certified as a trainer through the American Board of NLP. And since then, I've been doing real estate and mindset trainings and coachings. I primarily train business owners and investors. I've had clients that are lawyers, that are doctors, that have their own clinic facilities here in Utah, as well as real estate investors, realtors, and just people looking to break free from that mindset of working for somebody else and working for yourself, because that does take a pretty big mindset shift to achieve that. So first of all, let's talk about why is mindset important. First of all, it can help you create more income. One way is because when your mindset changes, you start to think of money as differently than just money. One of my good friends says that money is the receipt of the value you give somebody. And that never really hit me until I wanted to make more of it. I just wanted initially to make more money for not doing anything. And then I realized that the way to make more money is by providing a lot of value. And by doing that, I had to not only level up myself, I had to level up everything around me, including training my family, my friends, letting go and cutting the ties with people that were not beneficial for me, and doing that type of thing. Next thing, mindset is important because it can help you have better control of your emotions. Now, we hear a lot that you shouldn't make a decision when you're too angry, right? Now, that goes both ways. If you make a decision when you are too happy, that could also have certain things that come from it that aren't beneficial for you. So when you have total control and can make your emotions more neutral, you're not too high, you're not too low. When you can be in a neutral state of emotions, you can think more clearly, you can make better decisions, and you can analyze everything in such a way that you are not being pressured by emotion. Next thing, mindset is also important so you can learn of your limiting habits or limiting beliefs. And by learning which limiting habits and beliefs you have, you can actually reprogram and let go of those and install new ones. For example, something simple, since we're in the beginning of the year, a lot of people do this one, is they will want to let go of sodas, they'll want to let go of burgers, they'll want to let go of all that junk food and hit the gym. Well, the thing is with those habits, they go and do and get rid of all of them so quickly, they don't allow their unconscious mind to fully grasp the concept. And without having the unconscious mind and conscious mind being fully integrated and agreeing to where you want to get to, you will end up reverting back to drinking that soda or eating those burgers. So one of the main things about mindset, and by reading books that can help you with that, is using proven methods to let go of those habits and beliefs and negative emotions and all of that. And lastly, mindset is important because it can help you create the life that you want and that you deserve. A lot of times growing up, I would hear certain things that got engraved in my head that weren't positive. For example, oh, you shouldn't get that because this is all you need. Or you shouldn't go for that car because you know what, all you need is something to get you from point A to point B. Now, one of the troubles with that is, being humans, we have things we want. We have foods we want. We have, movies we want to see. We have cars we want, clothes we want, whatever it might be, whatever your want might be, it's okay to have that. When we install these beliefs of only going for what you need, it creates this kind of barrier. Because if, let's say, a Lamborghini that you want is up here and that's what you really, really want, but then you had these installations from being as a kid that you should only go for what you need, you can inhibit yourself unconsciously to always go for what you just need. And I mean, if we just need a car to get us from point A to point B, we can all go and buy a cheap $1,000 car, fix it up, and we'd be good, right? So these are some of the things that mindset can help with and why it is important. Now let's talk about what exactly is mindset. We hear that term thrown a lot, especially in the entrepreneur, business owner realm. We hear it in motivational videos, we hear it everywhere. So what exactly is it? Well, first of all, like I said before, is emotional intelligence. Mindset is having that emotional intelligence to realize, okay, this just happened. This happened at one of my properties. This sewer pipe blew out. What emotion am I feeling? With emotional intelligence, you take a step back and you say, okay, I'm feeling frustrated or angry. Now, how can I see this in a different way? How can I calm my emotions down to where I can make a better step forward and progress instead of letting this hold me back? Because if a person's not emotionally intelligent, they could see that broken pipe and get fixated upon it and keep saying, oh, this happened. Why didn't I have the inspector check this? Why didn't I do this? And instead of really analyzing it and seeing that it can be fixed and maybe for the future see what you can learn, you can let go of those emotions. And instead of seeing it as a failure, because there are no failures in life, you can see it as feedback for your next time, your next deal. And this can go in any industry. If you're a doctor or a lawyer, any failures per se that you have, you can learn from them, take that feedback and apply it for future clients, customers, projects, to where you can have success upon success upon success instead of seeing that thing we see all the time of up and down, successful and down. You can have constant growth. Mindset is also partly with motivation. What motivates you? What doesn't motivate you? Most of the time, when I've heard some of my up and coming clients that want to become business owners, they'll say, oh, well, I can't find a way to motivate myself. They'll even go to coffee or something very strong like that, a Red Bull, and give themselves that motivation, but it'll only last 2 hours. So to know what motivates you, you need to know more about if you're motivated towards something or away from something. The away from side, this side is, okay, I'm motivated away. I want to get away from being broke. For example, if you have an up and coming business owner, I want to get away from being broke, so I'm going to go and hustle. I'm going to go and put in an insane amount of hours because being broke feels so bad. I just want to get as far away from it as possible. That is one way to motivate. Is it the best way? I personally don't believe it's 100% the best way, because the other way is towards. And this is where you have those individuals that say, okay, I want this new Corvette, or I want this new Lamborghini, or I want a new home, or I want to retire my wife and I want to retire. Those are things that motivate you towards. So you're pulling towards it instead of pushing away from. And what this does, it installs a behavior in our minds to where every time we achieve that next thing we want and the next thing we're going for, it makes it a lot easier, because rewards are also very important in that type of motivation. Next thing, habits. Your mindset is or habits are included in your mindset, because how many habits do we not know of until somebody says it? Have you ever asked yourself that? Has there ever been a time where you're sitting there, you could be chewing your food, you could be sitting there and somebody says, "Hey, why do you move your mouth like that?" Or "Why do you move your hand like that?" And it's totally unconscious. So that's how a lot of habits are. In this day and age, we see a lot of people have habits with their phones. They'll be sitting there and for no reason, they'll say, "Okay, I need to go pick up my phone and I need to see maybe if I have a new notification." And those habits are installed to us by the tech companies as well. And by knowing which habits you have and how to stop them, you can also create a better mindset, because instead of doing that habit that's installed of picking up your phone and scrolling through Facebook for a couple of hours, now instead you can change that and interrupt that habit by picking up a book or by going to YouTube and learning something that will benefit not only you, but your family or your business. Next, mindset is also focusing on what you want. So a term I really, really love is energy goes where attention, or energy flows where attention goes. So by your mindset, by fixating on the things that you want and putting all the attention there, it's like a laser. If you go in with so much focus, you can cut something with the laser if it has enough power behind it. And that's how, by essentially upgrading your mind, you can go and have that laser type focus and you have those laser type results. So it's like, have you ever had a time in your life where for 3, 4, 5, or 6 months you just completely focused, and in that time frame you did things that you wouldn't have thought about achieving in 5 or 6 years? Next thing, conscious unconscious integration is part of mindset. We need to have that because a lot of times people can't communicate with both of their minds. The unconscious mind is very powerful. The thing is, a lot of times people don't know how to use it. Now, what that integration does, imagine you have a large ship and the unconscious mind is the crewman and the conscious mind is the captain. Now, in between the captain and the crewman, there's a door. You can't hear through it, you can't see through it. That's what happens when you don't have that integration. If the ship is heading towards an iceberg and the captain yells at his crew, "Hey, turn this ship to the left, we're going to hit that iceberg," and the crew doesn't see it, what's going to happen? They're going to hit the iceberg. So what happens when you open that door and you teach yourself how to listen to your unconscious mind and how to trust that gut instinct? You're allowing the full communication. Now, whenever the captain says, "Hey, I want to achieve this goal of buying 3 fix and flips. I want to get 3 fix and flips by June." Now the captain is fully communicating with the crew and the crew knows how to guide that ship. The crew will, in a way, if we're talking about your body now, your crew or your unconscious mind will tell your body, "Hey, in order to achieve those next 3 fix and flips in the next 6 months, I have to eat better, I have to sleep better, I have to call more clients, I have to knock more doors, I have to cold call a lot more, do some driving for dollars." So they start doing those unconscious behaviors by themselves. And flow state. Flow state is a state many athletes, gamers, people that love to read and can focus, and it just, when you have that specific kind of focus where everything kind of just disappears and it's just you, that flow state is crucial to building as fast as possible. And with all those things, we can ask ourselves, how do we change or how do we control our mindset? Well, in order to do that, we first have to understand how our mind works. So let's talk about the model of communication or how our mind works. First of all, you have this external event. It could be anything. It could be you driving on the road or racing a car, or you in the middle of a fix and flip, tearing down, doing demolition. Whatever that external event is, there is about 11 million bits per second that are entering your mind. There's 11 million. Now, to put that into some context, our mind out of those 11 million can only process about 136 bits. So we're deleting 10.59 something million bits of pieces. Now there's a problem with that. And you ask yourself, no, I'm not deleting anything, but let's put something to the test. Let's look at our visual. Wherever you're at now, if you look up anywhere and you just allow yourself to see everything you deleted originally, whether there's certain marks on your walls or your ceilings, there's certain stains, or there might be something you didn't see, a little piece of paper, just start seeing everything your mind deleted. And now we primarily get all of our information through our 5 senses, which is visual, which we just did, auditory, kinesthetic, which is our feelings or touch, olfactory and gustatory, which is our sense of smell and taste. So moving on to the next one, auditory. If you take a moment and listen, wherever you're at, what things did you delete? Is there any ticking noises? Is there any random noises in the background that you deleted? And moving on to kinesthetic, if you're sitting down, how many of you deleted that sensation of a chair pressed up against your thighs? Or maybe the clothes pressed up against your skin, or your heart beating, the amount of times you blink. Maybe if you touch your face, how many things do you delete at any given moment? So as we keep going down this process, those 11 million bits per second, first of all, we delete. That's the first thing the brain does, is it deletes tons of information because we can't process that many. We can only process those 130, give or take, pieces. If I were to give you 130 toothpicks in one hand to hold it, it's pretty easy to hold, right? Now, if I give you 100,000 or 1,000,000 or 10 million, it's impossible to hold all of those. So we need to function properly, we need to delete. The next thing we do is we distort and generalize. And we do that so quick, we normally don't process it. Let's say you're going through a building and every single door you enter is pull. You go through 5 or 6 doors, every single door's been pull. Now you get to the 7th door and that one's push, but you try to pull it because your mind automatically generalized that it was going to be the same as the other ones. So we do that with everything. We can generalize a lot of information from cars. If you love a certain brand of cars and you hate another, like a big one, Chevy and Ford, if you like one or the other, you automatically generalize something about the opposite brand that you might not be so fond of. Now, once we do all of those 3 processes, we delete, generalize, and distort, it goes through certain filters. Now, these filters, they are called metaprograms, and they are programs that we come installed with, essentially, if we were to talk in computer terms. We are installed with them, and they are our perceptions, our beliefs, our values, our attitudes, our memories, everything. So that event comes through all of these filters, and that gives you what we call the internal representation. It gives you that model of the world, or how you see the world. If something positive happens in the external event and comes through all these filters, your internal representation, you're going to be like, whoa, my life is amazing. I'm so grateful. And that's going to change your state. You're going to be in a very happy, positive state. And it will also change your physiology. If the previous day you had a negative event and you were feeling the opposite of those things, you would be having the complete opposite. Your physiology On a negative slope would be, oh, I feel so groggy or tired, or I don't have the motivation to do it. But if you can figure out a way to influence your state or your internal representation or even your physiology to something positive, you will change all three. And now when we are in a positive state, that gives us our behaviors. Whatever behaviors we do, it is influenced by that state and that internal representation that we have. So this right here is very important to know, because with any event that's came up or maybe you're going through now, is start to ask yourself, okay, what things did I delete? What can I learn from this event? And if I take a step back and look at it from above, like if I was a fly on the wall looking down, what can I really learn from this event to where I can take the feedback and completely not take it as a failure, just take it as the feedback and progress with my life? I mean, once you do that, you can influence all your behavior. You can see on a moment to moment basis what you're feeling, how to change it, and where you want to go. So that right there is a little bit about how our mind processes information and how we essentially influence our behaviors through that. Next, let's talk about the prime directives of the unconscious mind. Now, you have heard me talk about the unconscious mind a good amount. So let's talk about what the prime directives of it are. Now, first of all, it stores memories. I think that's a pretty simple one. We know our brains store our memories. We know that they're kept somewhere. We don't know where, but they're kept in our brains somewhere. It organizes your memories, so it has very organized files. If I say, hey, think of an event that happened in, 2020, you're going to have all these files that happened in 2020. And everything from when you were born to now is organized, and it's there. A lot of times we can't recall it consciously, but our unconscious mind remembers everything from the day we were born up until now. There's even certain theories that are being looked into that we remember things of when we were in the womb, as well as information that was passed down to us through our genes, through gene memory from our ancestors. If there was certain positive or negative things, those can be in our genes right now, affecting us in a positive or negative. Next, it represses memories with unresolved negative emotion. Now, if any of you have read psychology books, you hear a lot about how when humans experience some type of very negative, traumatic experience or event, a lot of times the mind will delete it. It will just repress it where they can't pull it up. They can't remember any of it. So that's part of what the unconscious mind does. And it also presents the repressed memories for resolution if they are ready to be resolved. So if a memory ever comes up, it says, okay, you know what, you are ready to resolve this. You are ready to let this go. Now learn from this and let it go. Let yourself grow, let yourself bloom, and move towards that path that you want to be at. Next, it runs the body. We don't have to sit here and say, oh, beat my heart or breathe. Your body does all of that. It blinks for you without you realizing it. It's constantly circulating, shedding old cells, creating new cells. It constantly runs and it preserves the body. And when we go to sleep, we don't have to constantly tell ourselves, hey, mate, I got this little cut on my finger. Can you make sure you repair that? So it just does that. It just knows. It's essentially an all-knowing self. It knows itself in the highest form. It knows itself how the ideal version of the body is, and it's always working towards that. Number 7, it enjoys serving and needs clear orders to follow. This one's very, very important, especially in the real estate industry, in business. You need to be very, very clear with your goals. And now, getting more specifically into that, a lot of people sometimes say, oh, I just want to make a lot of money. and they don't put a time, they don't put how much, they don't put anything. They don't give any type of specifics, and that creates a problem for the unconscious mind, because the conscious mind is the goal setter, but the unconscious mind is the goal getter. So the unconscious mind needs very, very clear orders to follow, because it wants to serve you. It wants to give you everything you want and deserve. So whenever you're writing out goals, be very conscious and ask yourself, okay, is this specific enough? Is it measurable? Is it specific enough? Is it achievable? Is it related to time or space? Is it time driven? By when do you want that certain goal? And by writing those down and creating vision boards or whatever it is you might do to keep that coming up constantly, that is very important, that you are very, very specific. If you're putting up a vision board, you want the most specific picture of that thing that you want, or that thing that you want to achieve. Next, it maintains instincts and generates habits. So this one we kind of do day to day. We can start doing something, and before you know it, we have a new habit. It all started with maybe one Diet Coke that a friend gave you, and then the next day another friend was like, hey, I got another Diet Coke. And after multiple weeks of getting that one Diet Coke, it becomes a habit, and the mind is like, okay, now this is a habit, I have to keep doing it. The same works for being positive and for doing things that motivate you. For example, reading a book. The first book you read, the first day, you're like, this takes so much time. Then the next day you're like, okay, you know what, this is pretty good. And then 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, now you're to the point where if you don't read one day, it can dramatically impact your emotions or your internal representation throughout the day. So it's important to be aware of what you are installing day to day. One rule I have for myself is if I do something that's not positive or beneficial for me for 3 days, I'm like, okay, I have to stop. That's why me personally, I've taken that like acceptance for myself, where I don't touch caffeine, don't touch alcohol, and because I don't see them as being so positive for me personally. Every once in a while, they could be okay if you do. There's nothing wrong with it. But you have to really analyze yourself and where you want to go and where you want to be, and analyze those people that you want to be like. Okay, I want to be like Elon Musk. What does he do? How does he sleep? What time does he wake up? All of those things. How does he think? Now, the next on the list, it needs repetition until a habit is installed. Like I said, you need to repeat something consistently until it becomes second nature and your unconscious mind takes over, and you don't have to use up much of your energy to do that task. Next, it is programmed to continually seek more and more. So our unconscious mind is programmed like that. If we go back to our ancestors when they were cavemen, cavewomen, they would go out and seek more and more. Of course, they did it for survival. Now, what do we seek more and more of? We could seek more and more of food. We can seek more and more of sugar and salts. We can seek more and more money. So by knowing that we always seek more and more, we can choose to give ourselves those positive things that are beneficial for us and for our families and for our friends and our community. Because by continually seeking more of those positive things, you can make a greater impact around you, and not just for yourself or your community, but even the world as a whole. So start to ask yourself and question, what is it that I'm continually seeking, and how can I change that to something positive if it's not positive already? Next, it functions best as a whole integrated unit. Back to how I said about the conscious and the unconscious, your mind is a super quantum computer. And if you have that computer split up into two different mini computers, they won't run as good as if you have them all integrated. So that's very, very important. Next, it is symbolic. So that's the reason why we have a lot of advertising. our unconscious mind responds to symbols so well. That is why all the major corporations, you will see them invest insane amounts of money in their logos, in their advertisements. I mean, you see the big M, the big yellow arches, you already know that's McDonald's. So knowing that it's symbolic, you can start to pay attention to those things and maybe integrate them into your business. Okay, how can I make my business, as soon as somebody sees a certain symbol, how can I get them to think of me just like that? And start to see how you can guide your business in that direction. Next, it takes everything personally. Now, this kind of it's a theme, it's called perception is projection. And it's something, it's kind of like facing the mirror. If you've ever read the book, The Four Agreements, they talk about the mirror. This is kind of like that. So it's essentially thinking anything that's outside of me is within me as well. So if there's something outside of me that bothers me, I can ask myself, okay, what in my life is similar to this that I need to let go of that negative charge? And by letting go of that negative charge, I can actually progress and grow a lot faster. So this is one that I apply to my own personal life every day, because I can always learn from something, even simple things. I could be driving by, and if there's a car accident or a car crash, which you're all safe from, if there's something like that, I could say, okay, what in my life is maybe crashing down right now, or what is crashing? And I could take a step back and I can start to say, okay, well, you know what, my diet's been crashing pretty hard. I've been going to Chick-fil-A for their deep fried spicy sandwiches too much lately. And then by realizing that, I can make that change instantly. So always ask yourself, okay, why is this bothering me? Or why is what this person said, why is it bothering me so much? And by doing so, you will learn so much about yourself and be able to grow in excremental points or steps. Next, it works on the principle of least effort. I like to tie this one in with our goals, just because if you're writing a goal and in that goal you say, oh, I want to make 20,000 a month. Okay, well, your unconscious mind is going to say 20,000 what? I can give you 20,000 pennies, 20,000 pesos, 20,000 yen. You need to be very specific on how you want it, even to the point where you say, I want $20,000 cash in my bank account by February 25th, 2021. As specific as possible. Because if you tell it something very vague, it's going to follow that path of least effort, kind of like water flowing down a stream. If there's a crack somewhere, it's going to go that way. So by focusing all your attention and getting that laser focus and putting in that very specific goal, you can flow right through it. And last, it does not process negatives. This one is very important. I use this one with my daughters all the time. And this one's one that I hear a lot of parents, business owners use. And with my clients, I specifically tell them, I want you to delete the word don't. Why? So how many times have you, any of you that are parents, or maybe you have siblings, if you don't have kids, how many times have you said, hey, don't touch that? And what do? They go and touch that. Well, the unconscious mind, it cannot process negatives directly. So that word don't, that specific word don't, it deletes it. And all their little unconscious minds here is touch that. Instead, what you could say is, hey, make sure you keep your hands away from that. You need to say things very specifically. Same with people that say, I don't want to be broke. Well, why are you telling your unconscious mind you want to be broke? That's essentially what you said by putting that word don't in there. Instead, say, I want to be abundant. I want to manifest everything I want and everything I am pursuing. Say exactly how you want, because by giving your unconscious mind those negatives that it can't process, you're doing the opposite of what you want. So just be very specific and go for that. So how do we change and control our mindset? One of the big ways, and it's probably simpler, well, it's very simple spoken. The thing is, you have to be very, very, very conscious of it, is ask yourself, are you on the cause side or the effect side? So let's put some scenarios. If I'm walking through a basketball court and a basketball hits me in the head, who's at fault, or who could have been in a position to stop that? If you're on the effect side, you would say, oh, that person that threw the ball, it's their fault. It's their fault I got hit in the head. The thing is that gives you reasons. It doesn't give you any type of result. On the other hand, if you say, oh, you know what, I shouldn't have been walking through this basketball court. It's because of me. It's my responsibility that I got hit in the head, because I could have walked around. I could have done so many other things to avoid that. Now you can take that in business as well. This is huge. So a lot of my clients, I've talked to them and they have said, but before we started coaching, their excuses would say, oh, well, I didn't achieve this because, you know what, my uncle told me this once. Or, you know what, I bought this program and I didn't get anything from it. It was a scam. Well, right there, they would be in the effect side. If you're on the effect side and say, it's because of that I don't have this, you're just giving the reasons as to why you don't have those results. Where if you turn that around and flip it 180 degrees and you live completely on the cause side and say, you know what, even if my uncle did say this, you know what, I am my own person. I'm going to stop giving them my power. I'm going to take that power back for me and say, you know what, he said that, I don't care. I believe what I believe, and I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve. And same with I had a couple clients that paid for different window tinting courses, real estate courses, different things. And at first they would say, oh, well, you know what? I just can't watch videos. Like, it's because they're like this, I can't do it. Or I just didn't make sense and they didn't help me enough. Well, right there, you're giving up all the power to the videos. You're giving up the power to the people that didn't help you. When instead you can take back that power and say, you know what? I got this program. I know it works. I know I can make it works. I know I can make it work, not just because I believe in the product, but because I believe in myself. That is where the biggest change and the most successful people that I know, that is the biggest difference, whether you're on the cause or the effect. So ask yourself every single minute, every single hour, for any type of event that comes up, which side are you on? Are you on the cause side or are you on the effect side? Are you blaming outside of you, or are you taking whatever happened and saying, you know what, regardless of what happened, I am intelligent, I am smart enough, I am fast enough, I can surpass all of that, learn from it and go. Ask yourself, which side are you really on, and be honest with yourself. I mean, you don't have to answer to anybody right now. You're answering to yourself. Be truly honest and ask yourself, which side are you on 50% of the time, 80% of the time? And be honest, because by being honest, you can continue to grow. You can't lie to yourself. You know yourself. So ask yourself that. This next one, I had mentioned it earlier. Focus your attention. Focus it like a laser beam, not like a flashlight, like a laser beam. Now, energy flows where attention goes. So if I wake up out of bed, my first thought is, oh, those bills. Damn, I have to go pay those bills now. I'm gonna go pay them. This sucks. All this sucks. Why do I have to do this? Why me? You're putting all of your attention to the bills. And what's going to happen, your unconscious mind is going to say, oh, well, all the attention is on these bills. It can't distinguish between what's positive and negative. It's going to say, oh, this person's focusing so much on these bills, I'm going to create more unconsciously. Now, if you turn that around and you start training your mind and you start focusing on the things you want, and the first thing every morning you say to yourself is, okay, how am I going to achieve the things that I want today? What actions am I going to take? And be grateful. You know what? Yes, I'm grateful that I get to pay the water bill. Why? Because you have the money to pay for it and you use the service. So why would you not be grateful for something you used? So be grateful and say, okay, I am going to go to the gym today. I am going to read this many pages out of the book. I'm going to call this many homeowners because I want to get a fix and flip. I want wholesales. I want this many wholesales. Focus on everything you want and constantly focus it. Because that constant focus, that constant attention, no matter what, your unconscious mind will do the actions that will get you there. So that is very, very important. Now, also focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Like I said, focus on the things 100% that you do want and set clear and specific goals that are measurable and time-oriented. Set weekly, daily, monthly, yearly. I have my goal plan set out to 90 years. Now, right now, I'm 28 this year. I'll be 118 if I get to live that long, which with science, who knows? They're saying people can live to 178 in the next 10, 20 years. Who knows? I don't know a lot about that, but think about the amount of energy and the amount of things you would accomplish if you took the next 3-4 hours and you sat down and you wrote down your next 90 years. Starting with 90, go 90, 80, 70, go all the way down. Once you get to 10, go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And for every single one, because the reason I have my clients do it opposite, start from 90 and go down, is because a lot of times we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 10. So imagine how much you would underestimate in 90 years. So if you have time, and I would really encourage it, write out a 90-year plan. If you don't want to write out a 90-year plan, at least write a 10-year plan. In that same sequence, write out your next 10 years of how many homes you're going to own. Are you going to own 200-300 properties? How many apartment buildings are you going to own in 10 years? Start with that. And then as you see everything starting to get achieved faster than you originally thought, you will start to realize, hey, like, this is working. I'm going to write my next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and just keep going like that, because all of your focus will be towards those things that you wrote. And your unconscious mind will help you achieve it a lot easier. And the last things I can fully recommend is read books. If you can't do the 1 book a week, do at least 1 book a month. Hire a coach, find a mentor, invest in trainings. I would love to help any of you that would like the help or just have questions in general. I myself have a goal of investing at least $30,000 a year into mindset trainings, whether that's like Tony Robbins or Joe Dispenza or the Tad James Company, like so many different companies out there that you can find trainings in. You can find mentors. And if you know what, if you don't have the capital to invest right now, learn from YouTube. YouTube can take you so far, and by getting that far, you can increase your income, and that'll allow you to take the next level trainings. I was at a training for my trainer certification, and I was speaking to a very successful real estate investor from New York. And I was talking to him and I asked him, you know what, like, how much money do you make per year? And he said, oh, well, I make $2 million a year. And to me, I was like, whoa, like I was making nowhere near that. And I said, well, if you're making $2 million a year, why are you here? Why are you still investing in your mind? And his response, he said he went to a seminar. It was an invitation only, and you had to make at least $1 million a year in real estate to get invited to it. And he told me when he stepped foot in that seminar, they asked everybody in the room, how much money do you make? And they would say, okay, how many of you made 100 million? You would see hands go up. How many of you made 90, 80, 70, 20, 10? When they got down to like 5 million, his hand was still down. And almost everybody in the room, their hand was up. And he said that's when he realized that all of these people had been investing 200,000 to 300,000 a year into their mindset. And that is why they were to the level that they are. And that's when it hit me like, dang, why don't I have my own personal budget for trainings or for mindset trainings for me personally? For this year, I already have 2 more planned. And I know for a fact that those will return my income invested tenfold. Because that's something I told my unconscious mind is like, okay, anytime you do this, make sure you get 10 times that. So that's all I can say is just do it. Just get out there and do it. And to finish off, thank you. If you have any questions, I'm going to open up right now for any questions. You can reach out to me. Here's my personal information, my email, my phone number. You can text me, call me. Either way works. And I will open it up to questions now. Mitch, if you want to help me with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, thank you, Gerardo. That's awesome. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of us, I think, that have, that are out there pushing, people on this call are at all different levels. We quickly realize that we are our own worst enemies. Right.
Yeah.
So there's nobody standing in our way saying, hey, no, you can't go get real estate. You can't go buy properties. Right. There's no fences around our next property or even our first property that are preventing us from getting in and doing what we need to do. There's no shackles holding us back. The only thing that is holding us back from having the level of success that we want is this, right? It's our mind.
Exactly.
And so, Gerardo, thank you. I mean, that it really makes it, I think it takes it to a next level of ease when we can identify what's going on, right? When we can identify the things, the bull crap that we're telling ourselves, right? That's just the garbage that we're filling our own heads with. And when we can learn to identify that, like you're training today, it allows us to then identify it in the moment when we're actually experiencing that stuff and eliminate it so that we can go on and we can do the things that we want to do. So Gerardo, thank you, my friend. That was awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, no, thank you. So guys, the time is yours. Feel free to jump in. I don't see any questions in the chat. So I would love to hear questions that you guys have for Gerardo. It's rare that we have a certified expert like this, especially in this particular field, on the call with us. So let's take advantage. I mean, what questions do we have? I know, Gerardo, I have a question for you to kind of get going, and then as you guys have questions, feel free to come off mute, and let's go from there. But Gerardo, I'm curious, what was one of the moments that you recall, maybe even particularly in real estate investing, when you started to apply some of the stuff that you taught us today, when you started to kind of get over a hurdle? What did that hurdle look like for you, and what steps did you take to get over it?
I think the biggest one and the most clear one, like I could just see it. I was first starting off, I was learning from you. You were teaching me everything, and I was getting out there and I was getting frustrated. I was going out there and I was knocking the doors. I was putting up the bandit signs. I was doing everything you had to do. And I remember every single day I'd be like, dang, is this worth it? Like, where are the deals? Where's these millions of dollars all these other real estate investors are making? I wasn't finding them. So when I started training myself in this field and on my mindset specifically, I started saying, okay, you know what? I just have to keep going. I just have to keep doing it and just trust the process, be grateful that I have the opportunity and the legs to go out there and do these things. And after about, let's see, the first 6 months is when I was like beating myself up. I was like, why am I not doing anything? Like, this sucks. Once I started training myself, after 2 months, I got my first deal. And I was like, whoa, like, this is amazing. And the first deal was out in Chicago, like states away. And I was like, dang, like, I couldn't find one here, but I found one over there. Let's take a flight out there. And we did that deal. That deal ended up profiting $75,000. And I was like, whoa, okay, I need to completely keep doing this. Like, this is definitely it. And it took a lot of that real estate knowledge that you were helping me and teaching me with, on top of changing myself. Because I can't expect only your things that you're teaching me to change myself. I had to do it from within too. That was by far the biggest.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Gerardo. That's awesome. You know, we had Dane Clark on the call a couple of weeks ago, and you know, I love having students that have been successful for a couple of years in real estate on the call. You know, Dane told the story about how when he first bought his education and was going through the process and was kind of running into some of those initial obstacles that everybody does, he was so mad at me. He was like, dang, Mitch, right? And I think a lot of people have, especially ones that are out doing it and kind of running into those obstacles. Yeah. Mitch, you know, it's his fault, right? But then something happens and the clouds part, right? You realize it's not Mitch's fault. It's, you know, it was up here all along. I just had to get over myself and get out and do it. So I love hearing those stories. That's awesome.
That cause and effect. It makes you realize, who am I blaming me outside of me?
The obstacles and we're still friends.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. I'm grateful for you.
Looks like we have some people off mute. Charlotte, did you have a question?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you. I think it's an awesome story, and I just love seeing young people that are on fire for what they're doing and investing back in the people that kind of got them there. I have actually 15 kids from Mexico that live with me, and that we're actually teaching through the same kind of methods using Mitch's book, one of them, along with, you know, many others as far as mindset goes. But I was kind of curious with regards to the process that you went through that brought you to seek after, you know, just achievement, like from getting the education at first and then discovering your mindset, and then at what point did you kind of own it? Because we're, you know, I'm in the process of, you know, doing a lot of things myself of trying to improve my life and trying to improve the capacity that I have to help these kids. But at the same time, I'm trying to get them to realize that they're not too young. Like, they're, you know, it's not something that they're planning to do in the future, but it's something that applies to them right now. And that they're, you know, they have a lot of goals with regards to college and sports and things like that as well. But just teaching them about finances and about money, a lot of times they're disconnected because they think that they're too young. But you're, you know, you're pretty young as well, and you started at a young age. So just kind of curious about how you made that jump to like wanting to achieve and figuring that you had ownership of that.
One of the biggest things for me personally was, I would have to say, is my daughter. Like, my first daughter, when she was born, it kind of, you know, sometimes it takes something that big to cause the chain of events that lead to it. So the story with that is, I was working 3 jobs. My daughter was maybe 8 months old. And I remember getting paid from all 3 jobs, paying all the bills. And I look at my bank account and I had $7 left. And I'm like, how is this possible? I'm working 80, 90 hours a week, and I have $7 to my name until next week. And that's where it really hit me. And I was like, okay, this feeling, I never want to feel like this again. And that kind of lit up a fire inside me where I just started searching. I started seeing who's doing the things I want to do and how can I learn from them. One of the very first people, if not the first, is Mitch, and he helped me along that way and helped me with my mindset and kickstart that. So one thing I would say is, with them being younger, for example, one of my youngest students in my trainings, she is 14, and she was not even interested in business. She was not interested in any of those things. And then she took the training for herself because she was battling some depression issues. And after the training, there was this like light that lit up. And now it's been about a year since she took that training and got certified. Now she has her own chocolate covered strawberry business. She does coachings for other girls that are facing those issues that she used to. She's graduating an entire year early from high school. She's on track to finish an entire year early. And to see those changes, it really takes looking within yourself. So I would have them ask themselves, like, what is it you truly want? Like, if there was no limits of finances, if there was no limits of anything, what is it that you truly want? And then once they tell you that, have them ask themselves, okay, how can I achieve that?
Mm-hmm.
If it's not achievable right now with these current circumstances, what actions can I do, or who can I get connected with to help me achieve that I want? Whether it's like, what sports do they play?
Primarily basketball. Most of them are basketball. Mm-hmm.
So if they really, really, truly want to become pro basketball players, have them ask themselves, how does LeBron James, how does he eat? How does he sleep? What's his sleeping schedule? How does he walk? How does he talk? How does he talk to other people? How does he respect them? And that's something that in NLP, we call it the physiology of excellence. That's where you can take any single person that you look up to, study them, study how they think, study how they act, how they take care of themselves, their spirituality, and you can essentially recreate that copy and implant it in yourself by living your life like that person. So if they really want to become pros, and I believe they can become pros, if their focus is like a laser and they keep going towards it, regardless of how many times they'll fall, regardless of how many hoops they miss, regardless of all that, if they can realize that, you know what, it's just feedback. Mm-hmm. How did I take that shot? Did I go far to the left, far to the right? Was my jump off? You know, they can analyze those things and say, okay, that's feedback. How can I apply that right now, change it, learn from it, and fix it for the future times? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's probably the biggest in that sense that I could give.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. Thank you for spending the time and being with us. I don't want any of them to go out and have babies first so they can get motivated.
No. Yeah. No. You definitely don't need that.
Yeah.
That's remember I talked about the away from and the towards motivation?
That's right.
So that I used to be very away motivated. Like I tried to get away from those things. Like I don't want to do those things.
Yeah.
It's training. Your unconscious mind is like a puppy. Every time you do something good, you got to give that puppy a treat, you know? Mm-hmm. If you achieve one thing, give yourself a treat, buy yourself something you truly want. And then your unconscious mind is going to start saying, hey, like, I like that. That's nice. I'm going to help you achieve the next thing and the next thing. So you can definitely train yourself to be motivated towards things instead of away from, because away from can kind of be not so fun. So it's better to have the fun things, the rewarding things. So that's what I've had to train myself as well. Instead of going away from those things, now it's like, okay, I really like that car. I'm going to go for that car. And after I achieve this goal, okay, get that. Or I really want this new computer. What goal do I have to achieve before getting that computer? And just rewarding that unconscious mind, that puppy, every single time you do something very good.
You know,
it's a good concept.
It's interesting. I mean, I look back on my journey to success, right? And a lot of you know my story, how I, 10 years ago, I was selling websites. I was peddling websites for 40 grand a year. And I think the biggest realization for me was how simple it is to get the things you want. There's principles in the law of attraction in that, literally all I had to, and this sounds funny. This sounds like it shouldn't work, but literally all I have to do is tell people what I want.
Yeah.
Just say what you want, right? Just say it, start saying it to everybody, say it to yourself, make yourself believe it first, and then say it to other people like it already exists. And it just happens. Like it's crazy. It just materializes.
Yeah.
And again, that sounds mystical. It sounds magical, but really it's a mental thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
One of my biggest, and probably I apologize, a lot of you've probably heard this story, but one of my biggest mentors early on in my life, about 1920, I had a mentor that was a billionaire, and I only got a chance to talk to this guy about once every 6 weeks, but and I would always ask him, you know, I was 19 years old, just like, okay, how do I become rich, right? How do I become a billionaire? And one of the things that he pointed out to me is like, you know, people are wet noodles. You just have to be more than a wet noodle, and you can usually get what you want. And I thought, you know, I only get to see every 6 weeks, and this is all I get is you tell me not to be a wet noodle. Thanks a lot, right? But that has stuck with me. And the more I look back on that statement, the truer it is. This is true in negotiation. It's true in just basic life principles of the things that you want. Just manifest them. Believe it's going to happen. Know it's going to happen. Say it's going to happen. Tell others that it's going to happen or that it's happening, right?
Yeah.
And it materializes. So
Exactly.
I mean, there's your mystical.
Yeah,
But
a
it's
lot
true.
of it stems
It
from
really
quantum physics too. If you're into quantum physics, mechanical, or quantum mechanics, I mean, there's this 0 point field in between that space of atoms. So atoms have all that space, but yet we feel like the heart, we feel the solid of the world. But in between everything, there's that 0 point field where our energy, our mind sends energy signals, and you could almost say that mystical side, you attract those things you are wanting. And that's all done if you get really deep into quantum physics, just by, there's a double slit theory where they talk about how atoms aren't supposed to react like waves, but when you pay attention to them, they react a completely different way just by focusing on it. That's essentially how our world is. And where your attention goes, that energy flows there, and you will attract what it is that you're focusing on, good or
quantum
bad.
mechanics. Gerardo, you're as big a nerd as I am.
Dude, I'm a huge nerd.
I had no
That's
idea
my
there was
stuff.
anybody that was on this call that was as big a nerd as I am.
Oh man, I read
I
so
love
many
it.
quantum mechanics and quantum physics books.
That's awesome. We'll have to compare notes. That's kind of my
Let's do it.
hobby.
Yeah,
So
I'm down.
thanks. That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Charlotte, for your question. I noticed that Raul is off mute. Raul, do you have a question for Gerardo? Nope, maybe not. Okay. I saw Mateo. Oh, Mateo came off mute for a second. Go ahead, Mateo.
I wanted to ask, what advice would you give a 15-year-old?
What advice specifically are you looking for? Let's start there. Let me ask you a question for your question. What specific kind of advice in terms of what?
Helping my mom get out of debt.
Okay. So specifically, ask yourself this: what is it that you want for yourself as well? Now, a lot of times when I ask my clients that, they'll be like, oh, I'm not selfish. No, I want this for them. But here's the thing. Your unconscious mind is motivated to help your physiology, your body out, right? So let me ask you, what do you want? What do you truly want?
I want to become a football player. I want to play professional. That's what
Okay. Okay, and if you focus on that, like I said, like a laser, and you focus 100% into that, you train when nobody's training, you get there before people are there, you stay later than anybody, and you completely focus and you get drafted to the NFL, do you think that's a way to get your mom out of work?
I'm sorry, can you repeat like the last 15 seconds because my internet connection kind of lagged a bit.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so like I was saying, if you want to become an NFL player, how much effort can you put to that? How can you go in like a laser and train more than anybody, stay later than anybody, do the things nobody wants to do? You know, they tell you you're going to run yards one day. What are you going to do? Are you going to complain about it? Are you going to do it?
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
The thing is,
extra mile and put an extra mile.
Good. I have, you're kind of freezing off a little. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just can't really see you. So one of my friends, you can look him up. His name is John Madsen. He is a retired professional NFL player. He played for the Oakland Raiders. Now his story is pretty amazing. He never touched a football in high school. Not once. Not once touched a football in junior high. Not once touched a football in high school. He only touched the football until college. But he had that determination, and he said, you know what, regardless of everybody else and what they've done, I know for a fact I have more tenacity. I have more hunger for the things I want. I will become a professional NFL player. And he did it. After college, got drafted onto the Raiders, played for a couple of years, played for a couple other, I think he played for the Cleveland Browns too. I can't remember the second team, but like that right there just shows you, regardless of where your situation was, if you have that tenacity and that vision and you know exactly where you want to go, you will achieve it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah. Because I haven't touched the football. I haven't played a football game ever. So I'm very hungry. I really want it, and I'm working towards it, and I'm going to work.
That's good. That's good. So there's a perfect story. I didn't even know you've never played football. There, take my friend's story. He never played, and he still made it. It's all on that vision you want. So you asked, how can I get my mom essentially like out of work and to live a better life? It's kind of a weird situation, because it's like you have to focus on yourself. And a byproduct of that, you will help your mom. It's just a byproduct. It's a lot of times people think, oh, I just need to go for this. The thing is, you have to think a little bit bigger to where everything else that you want just kind of gets taken care of. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mateo.
Thanks a lot.
And Mateo,
Yeah.
you have to live up here as if it's already happened. You've heard that saying, fake it till you make it, right? That doesn't mean lie. That doesn't mean go around and tell people you're a heart surgeon when you're not, right? But you live up here like you're a heart surgeon. You live up here like you're a pro football player. You already are. As far as you're concerned, you already are, right? And that creates a vacuum. It creates a void that has to be filled with pro NFL. So just live it like you already are. But that means that you have to live it like you already are. You have to practice like a pro NFL player practices. You have to eat like a pro NFL player eats and work out like a pro NFL player works out, because you already are.
Yep.
And then it happens.
Exactly.
And that's true of anything. I mean, a lot of people on here, are aspiring to get into their first real estate deal. Same thing. You've already done it. So do the things as if you've already done it. Live the life up here as if you've already done it. That's fake it till you make it. That's creating that void and that vacuum that you can fill with the potential that nobody and nothing is holding you back from. Only yourself and your own mind.
Exactly.
Garbage that we tell ourselves on a daily basis. I love it. Thank you for the question, Mateo. That was awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Thank you so much.
You got it.
Yeah. Keep pushing for that.
It's crazy how I got to meet you guys, because I read your book, and then I told my uncle that I read this book by Mitch A Nelson, and my uncle Luis Castillo, he said he was friends with Mitch A Nelson. I was like, what? And then he sent me this link that he was going to have a class. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to join it. And then
You're welcome every week, my friend.
Yep.
You are welcome every week. All right. So looks like Raul is still off mute. Raul, do you have a question? I don't want to skip over you if you've been waiting in line. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody have any questions for Gerardo before we wrap up the night?
Is it same time next week?
Same time, same link every week.
Okay. Thank you.
So save that link.
Mitch, it's Rosa.
Hi, Rosa.
Hello. Gerardo, I have a brother named Gerardo, Do they call
Oh, that's
you
awesome.
Lalo?
No, they call me Hera.
Hera. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is a mindset question, but I just want to go through it because my biggest struggle is focus.
Uh,
You know, I want to do it all, and I can do it all, and I want to do it all, but I know I could be doing so much more, especially in rebuilding my business, if I were to focus on one thing. Now,
uh-huh.
I'll just give you a little bit of background, and this is not, of course, not to promote myself in any way, but it's so you can understand how to guide me on how I can definitely, get my focus point, laser focus for my vision that you're,
Yeah.
that you're talking to Mateo there about. So as an entrepreneur, I'm also a mom, a wife, a business owner, consultant, educator, accountant, and then a tax planning practitioner.
Wow.
In 2021, I entered, and this is why I started searching for a real estate mentor, which I selected Mitch, of course. Is 2021, I wanted to focus on real estate investing, getting into the real estate world, because as I'm generating income and revenue, I want to guide it somewhere, and I want to guide it into the real estate vehicle.
Yeah.
So how I want to do it all, but I know I shouldn't be doing it all because I'm not going to get anything done that way, right? How
Yeah.
can I figure out where my focus point should go?
You know what? I have a book comes to mind as you ask me that. Have you read the book, The One Thing?
No. I did
Okay,
hear someone mention that on
that book,
Clubhouse yesterday.
yes, that book will impact your focus in such a way that you will know exactly what you need to do every step of the way. That book for me, because I was kind of the same way. I was like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do real estate, I want to do all these things. And I was like, okay, I am one person, I can't do those 10 things at the same time right now until I get assistance, of course. And I saw that book and it just stuck out to me. I'm like, the one thing. Well, why would you just want to do one thing? And the book, there's a phrase in there that says, what is the one thing you have to do right now that will take you 10 steps forward in your business? So you can break that down from all of the things you do and make the one thing. For example, if you're barely starting up in real estate, what is the one thing, just one thing? What is the biggest thing you can do right now that will progress you and make you take a huge leap towards where you're going? So it's like if I were to ask you right now, what's that one thing? What is that one thing? And you'll know it, your unconscious mind knows it. What's that one thing you have to do? And it might be something you don't want to do. What is that one thing that you need to do, but you might not want to do? But you have to. What is it?
Out of everything that I mentioned that I do throughout my
Yeah.
day,
Yeah. What's the one thing
that I need to do, but I don't want to do?
Yeah.
Well, I know that I need to
Could be
cook, and it's taking me 3 hours a day, and I don't want to do that, but I have to do it. You see, it's silly things like that
Oh,
that get in the way. Does that make sense? Like as a mom,
yeah.
as a wife, being at home now, remotely working, I
Mhm.
have to get the cooking done, and it takes
Yeah.
3 hours of my time. And I know I'm like, I need to pay someone to do that, right?
Well, there you go.
Get
You
it out
just
of the
fixed your
way.
solution. You could pay somebody. And now it's like, that's probably with food, that is one of the biggest ways. Pay somebody to do it. I mean, Richard Branson and all these other billionaires say, why do you keep doing something that you could pay somebody else $10 an hour for when you could be making $2, $3, $5, $10,000 per hour?
In that hour, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So those are simple things that you can delegate and you can free up that time and get it back.
I hired Ron Williams for a space of 6 months to be a professional chef for me. And he cooked every meal, brought it over, stuck it in my fridge every couple of days, and I just pull it out and warm it up. I actually lost 70 pounds when I paid a chef to cook my food. because it was, you know, I mean, granted, this chef happened to be Mr. Universe 7 times, but so he knows what he's doing. But you know, there's ancillary benefits to that. So just adding my testimonial to that idea.
Great idea. I don't know if I
No.
can afford a chef that for that. I don't know what you paid him, but I'm sure it wasn't a $10 an hour chef.
I think it was $5,000 every 90 days is what I paid him. But now I little disclaimer, I think I found most of those 70 pounds that I lost, but you know, we rescued him. But but at the time, it was pretty awesome.
So Gerardo, thank you. I will go ahead and try starting with that one thing book, reading it and see if it'll help me.
Yes, that book did wonders. I recommend it to almost every single person that's up and coming in business and wants to take that next step. And it can be applied to anything. It could be applied in spirituality, in your own personal fitness goals. It's always just that one thing. For example, for me in fitness, the biggest one thing last year was letting go of soft drinks. I would still have one soft drink a week. And I was like, dang, that's still bad. And you know what? That was the one thing that was holding me back.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Apply it in everywhere. You're welcome. Thank you for the question, Rosa.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rosa. Tucky, you finally made it on, my friend. I'm sorry that we're at the end of the meeting when you're finally making it in, but save that link because it's going to be the same link every week. So hang on to it. We have time for one last quick question for Gerardo. Any takers? Going once. Going twice. All right, Gerardo, my man, thank you. This was such an incredible training. I mean, I personally got a lot out of it. So I'm sure everybody else did as well. But thank you for your time, and thanks for donating your time to come hang out with us today and to teach us the amazing things that you shared with us. One more time, if you would, Gerardo. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, okay, this is my big obstacle. I need to find somebody who can help me work through my own crap that I keep telling myself all the time. Can you share with us how these students can get a hold of you if they'd like to?
So I had put my number up. It's 801-970-3155. You can shoot me a text, call me. You can add me on Facebook, Gerardo Lemus. Just how it's spelled here on the, or it's actually not spelled on there. So it's Gerardo. Oh, you tipped there. Thank you for that, Mitch. So they can find me, reach out through any of those mediums. And I will
say the phone number one more time. I'll put it in the chat.
801-970-3155.
There it is.
Yeah, and I'd love to help anybody that just has questions. Maybe they have that one thing that they don't know what it is, and they just can't seem to let that last thing go that they know will just project them. I'd love to have anybody as students, all of that.
Real quick, I just saw Paul come off mute. We got 2 minutes before 1:30. Paul,
okay.
Did you have a question?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, well, actually, I don't know. Maybe Gerardo or Mitch. I'm in California, and you know, the real estate market is here. It's very competitive, very expensive, and I was considering like investing in doing out of state investing and that type of thing. And I came across a website or a company called Roofstock. They're actually, I don't know if you've ever heard of them or not, but they're actually investors. They're a company that works with investors for out of state properties.
Okay.
And that type of thing. And what have you ever heard of them or?
I haven't. One of the biggest things I would say, make sure that you get references before you work with anybody. If they're not willing to give you references, they probably don't have any references to give you. So get references, talk to clients of theirs, people that have worked with them and you know, done, whether it's they buy properties from them or they get funding from them or whatever the case might be. Make sure that, you know, vet maybe 2 or 3, I would say at least 3, more, if not more than 3 people And make sure you understand the process before you sign any contracts. Make sure you understand start to finish, nuts to soup, what you're paying for, because you're going to be paying something, right? Either for a property or, and there's probably a
But
commission.
they tell you the return, on investment, they tell you, they get the renters in, they provide the property management, and they tell you what your return's gonna be, like say 10%, 13% over the year.
Like a turnkey type deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that type of thing. But that was actually one of my questions.
Okay.
The others, actually, California, I tried to contact these like groups, like real estate investment clubs and things like that, and I haven't had any luck with that. And one in Orange County, they're closed in that. I ran into a couple of them, but they want like, it's like a big club where you pay like so much a year to be part of the club. But I was wondering if there's any way to, to actually to find somebody maybe to work with out in this market that I might be able to hook up with or something.
For
in
finding property specifically, or?
Yeah, that, or, instead of the real estate investment club that they have out here, like somewhere else, like that. Yeah, that type of thing, where I can actually work with people.
One of the things you might want to do is start networking with other students. What part of California are you in?
Southern California.
Southern California.
I'm in Orange, in the city of Orange, in Southern Cal.
Dude, you're neighbors with Rosa. You guys should do coffee or something and strategize.
Yeah, you know what? I heard her. Yeah, I heard her last time. Yeah. Yeah, if you like to.
I am available. I am in Victorville, but I am doing
Victorville.
Yeah, I'm doing an ADU in Garden Grove, California. So I go there often because I go check the web. The job
Yeah,
site.
I'm right next door. I'm really close there.
You know something,
Yeah,
guys? I have partnered on every single deal I've ever done. I've had a partner on. It's not always the same partner. In fact, most of the time, it's various different partners. Wade's partnered with me on several deals. We've been partners for a long, long time. Tyson's partnered with me on deals. Charlotte's partnered with me on deals. And we get more done together than we do by ourselves.
So that was a good question. Was that a good question?
Absolutely. Yeah. And guys, and maybe a partnership won't end up working, right? But I think it's worth the two of you getting together and having a conversation, especially where you're close to each other. Wear your masks, right? You don't want to infect each other, but get together, strategize, see what ways you can work together, figure out what each of your strengths are, what each of your weaknesses are, where you can complement each other, what your focuses in real estate are, what your goals are, and then go out and try to take down a few. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, at least you'll learn something from each other. There's something to learn from everybody you meet. So, Paul, it looks like Rosa just put her contact information in the chat. So go ahead and grab that real quick before the meeting.
Wonderful.
Because it will kick you out.
That's terrific.
With that said, we are a little past, half past the hour. Gerardo, again, thank you, my friend. We need to hang out one of these days. So plan on coming up and let's have some fun. But thank you for your time on the call today. It was a huge value to everybody. Guys, that's all we've got for you this week. We will be right back here, same time, same place next week. Use that same link. You'll be getting a text from me Monday or Tuesday, actually from Tyson in my name. So thank you, Tyson, for sending those out. Make sure that you all stay safe. You all stay healthy. Go out, change your lives on a daily basis. This is amazing information that we got this week from Gerardo that we should each and every one of us be applying into our business over the next week. I'm excited to hear the stories of the changes, even just the simple mindset changes that have happened for you as we get back together next week. But again, stay healthy, stay happy. I love you all, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Mitch.
See you later.